What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again, coming at you with another Summoner's War video. In today's video, we bring you guys a little bit of an update. As you guys know, we got a new monster balance pass coming in next week. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different for you today. Instead of reading the thing from top to bottom, we're going to be talking about the ones to watch, which is some of the units that are possibly underrated and overlooked. Some of the units that are going to surprise us here. And so instead of me doing it myself, we're going to bring on a very special guest, a guest that we just recently collabed with on his channel, Onceinluv'S. How are we doing today, sir?
We're doing pretty good. Woke up, saw the balance patch, feeling good.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I got massive amount of texts from various people like, bro, did you check out this balance patch? It's actually good. It's actually pretty good. A lot of changes. So
yeah, there's a lot. I got spam woken up by like pings in Discord. So I was like, oh, I forgot to set my do not disturb later.
Right. And if I understand correctly, you're going to be streaming a little bit later tonight. As you guys know, we're putting this video out literally on the day. We're going to go over a couple of things here, but I think you're going to give the full breakdown on your stream, on a video, you said?
So after I finish stream today, I'm going to upload the video.
Okay.
Maybe if I have time before, but I'll have a video uploaded on my channel. Full breakdown of everything, how I feel about Siege meta, Arena meta, RTA meta, PvE, stuff like that. So you can see the full breakdown if you want anywhere. But for now, we're going through the, what did you call them? The what to watch for, right?
Ones to watch. The top 5 ones to watch. Your personal list as far as the units that recently got changed, whether it was good or bad, that you're like, oh my God, this is going to be interesting. This may impact the meta in a crazy way here. Go ahead and start out with your first one.
I see. Okay, so just a preface for this list, I'm going to go over only things that got changed that I think are good. I think things that got changed. I don't think any of the nerfs were necessarily bad, so I'm going to completely skip over that. We're going to go over units I think are good, things to watch out for because they might catch you off guard or they might be a lot better than you thought they were. So the first unit I want to go over is Alexandra, the Dark Unicorn.
Okay.
So Alexandra passive, before it was reflects 30% damage received to the enemy that attacked. Now it's going to be reflects 20% of received damage to all enemies. I think this is going to be a lot stronger than people are willing to give it credit for.
Right.
In RTA, it's going to be really strong. In arena defense, it's going to be incredibly strong.
Yeah, and the fact that, I mean, everyone's built around AoE cleaving and all this and that, like this is going to be another just unit that's going to be super annoying, super toxic there. Yeah.
Another cool thing is like they buffed her in the past so that she doesn't need crit rate when she's in human form.
Right.
So this unit can actually stack a ton of defensive substats or accuracy or just like a ton of crit damage if you want, right? She can be built in so many different ways and also has so much more survivability and more passive threat now that I think a lot of people will just pick her in those situations where it's like, hey, I can pick a Samoth and some other tanky unit. It's like I can pick Samoth and Alexander now because these two units synergize really well in this like anti-cleave setup.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. Of course, I'm excited for the 2% of people that have them, but hopefully, if these changes get implemented,
Talkish.
I know, right?
Keep your eyes out for Talkish, guys. You'll see it for sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. He does have it. All right, we should be pretty excited about that. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into your second one. What do you got there on list number 2?
Okay, list number 2. Let's go down to the Fire Sky Dancer, Hwaki. So Hwaki, I think, is going to be an incredible PvE unit and a very strong unit for Guild Wars and Siege at a lower level. So anything probably below the G2 range, I think that she'll be really effective in this situation. So they have made a change to her skill 3, Pride Will Fall. Essentially now, they've added an effect that decreases the defense for 2 turns with a 30% chance. Now, if I recall correctly, this skill hits 5 times, I think.
I think 6. 6, yeah.
6 times. So this used to be one of the most popular Necro options. It was really popular for Dark Rift as well, Dark Rift Beast. You can probably still use her there now. She's even better now that you're able to get this extra defense break chance. I think she's going to be really strong just because 5 hits the defense break, her damage scaling is pretty good already.
Right.
I think you could also use her in lower level Siege because of the leader skill changes she's getting. So the fire one will have a defense leader skill, so she'll be tankier naturally. But I don't know. I think she's underrated.
No, and most definitely, I'm actually pretty excited for some of the people that are coming up. There's a lot of great healers out there, but you know, when it comes to 4-star healers, there's not too many that I would consider hybrid ones. So the fact that she can provide a little support for some units and then provide the damage now with the defense break, that just kind of helps out because again, when we're trying to create compositions, we're looking for all the different things we want to throw in the mix: the slows, the defense breaks, the attack breaks, the speed buffs, all that. So now that we have this little element in this one, it's just going to make things a little bit easier when you're creating your comp.
Yeah, especially in like special leagues. So like when we look at 4-star special league, I think she'll be a lot more usable alongside Miang because like Miang's getting a change that doesn't matter for special league, but she's a good unit, right? She has speed scaling strip. She has a really strong heal that is a pseudo cleanse that extends buffs. Like these two units together have a lot of potential to deal a lot of damage and really catch people out.
Yep. Most def. All right, then let's take a look at your number 3 here. What do you got?
And number three has got to be Sekhmet. I think Sekhmet.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Sekhmet has a very small minor change, but the impact of this minor change is quite
huge.
heavy.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not a minor change. No. If you want to look out for someone who will be using this, you'll most definitely see it on Fidos' stream. Fidos. He was an SWC contender. I will be building my Sekhmet for this as well. You're going to be seeing people running 290 vile builds. You're going to see people running 325, 330 Swift builds. Sekhmet now loses her accuracy awaken for a speed awaken. So she's now 114 base speed, which means on your average, I would say Guardian 2+ Swift set, it's very easy to push 325, 330 on your fastest set. Mm-hmm. On a reasonable set, you can still get 310, 315. She can now contend Triton, right? She has this base speed to contend Triton. She has a base speed to contend a lot of these really fast units. She can also contend Woundsaw, right? Which is, I think, a pretty significant change.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that because again, it's so sad. I remember quite a few seasons back where everyone was about the double reset life, man, bringing in the Gani, the Sekhmet, or the Oki. I mean, they were just always it, and I didn't see it all too much here. But literally, this is out of the ones you showed so far. I think this is the one that's like really gonna move up in the quote unquote tier list rank as far as things that people are going to be using, like because of skill 3 being so unique, being able to strip, reset, and then if it misses, you got the opportunity to do it again. So yeah, like you're saying, that people
specifically if it misses the reset. So what you can do is you can strip and then miss,
right?
And then if you violent proc, you can strip again.
That's right. Yeah, you can do it again. Yeah.
So sometimes like missing the reset is actually better, depending on what your setup is. But yeah. I think the most important thing is the fact that you can run this unit viably on like a 280+ speed violent set, and it's not going to take your fastest runes. Yep. Obviously, we're talking at a high level, but
sure.
If your whole team is based around 275 speed, if you put one of those sets on your Sekhmet, suddenly she's going to be 290 speed, right? She's able to move in front. So you'll have people who are running like Sekhmet, Oki, Gani, for example, where you have 2 strippers before your Gani goes.
Yeah.
So a lot of potential.
A lot of potential indeed. What do we got for number 4?
So number 4, I'm going to go with velijul. So I'm showing a lot of love to the fire units today. I think velijul has a this one I actually do think is a really small change, but it's enough that I think the impact is good. So if we want to scroll to the bottom first, the first change I want to talk about is Archangels gain 5 speed. Yep. So Archangels go from 95 base speed to 100. It may not seem like a lot, but if you're running like a Swift Nem velijul, or if you're running a Violent Net velijul on a fast set, suddenly, your Swift set gets 1 more speed. If it's your fastest Swift set, this can easily go over 300 now. This can easily go over 310. Before, with a 95 base speed, it's a little bit harder. You lose 1 speed from the speed set and your 5 speed slower. Mm-hmm. So the viability of base speed units being 100 or higher is really, really nice. The next thing is they've changed the skill 2 on Archangels for all of them, but specifically for the Fire and Dark one. Instead of having a 3-turn dot, they now have a 2-turn dot as well as a defense break chance on their skill 2. Now, this defense break chance is only 50%, which is why I'm not saying this is a massive buff. I'm not saying this is a huge game-changing buff. I think the potential of this defense break is that velijul is often built as a unit that goes before other units. Sure. So when you're synced up and your team is tuned, you're going to have your velijul's cleanse, next turn defense break. Hopefully a unit can move after and just to deal some big damage, whether that's like, if you're using a Rakan, or if you're using a Diana, or if you're using a, just anything. Even an Musha. The defense break is just so significant for the amount of damage output you can get.
Yeah.
That I think that both velijul and maybe even Fermion, because of the revenge mechanic, they may have a lot of potential coming out.
Yeah, when I initially read this one, I wasn't super excited about it because of the fact that it was for the fact that it was 50% chance here. I was like, oh great, a defense break, even though it's 1 turn, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's not going to be as good as other stuff. But the 50% chance kind of got me a little sad here. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it kind of plays out here. Again, it's a buff, right? We can't really get mad at that. I think it's better with this new version now versus how it was old. So I'm curious to see how it does and how it works out there for everybody.
Yeah, and it's definitely tough too because this skill is a 2-turn cooldown, so you can't make it like too strong.
Sure.
Like when we look at some units like that, like Miles, for example, the new Water Sky Surfer, has a 100% strip chance and a 50% stun chance, and people are saying the 50% stun's not enough. You also have to remember this unit gains a ton of turns because of how fast it is based on the passive.
Right.
It's a 2-turn cooldown skill, and that's like pretty significant.
That is. Yeah.
Pretty significant. He procs once, he locks down a unit again next turn.
Yep.
So these 2-turn cooldown skills, I think, are definitely like they sneak under the radar. Not a lot of people see them right away.
Yeah. That kind of reminded me back in the day when Aegir became super popular here, having that low cooldown time on skill 2, and then the combination of the mechanic from skill 2 to skill 3 and bouncing back and forth. That was pretty fun.
That's me right now, currently using Aegir.
Yeah.
Current meta.
Yeah.
Current meta Aegir.
Shameless plug for Onceinluv'S. Check it out on this channel, twitch.tv/Onceinluv'S.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to see a little Aegir gameplay. All right. What's the last one you got going on that list?
The last big one for me has to be Lysel, the water vampire. I think water vampire is getting a very significant change that is actually really, really good, but mainly for PvE content. So Lysel's change before Killing Wave attacks all enemies up to 5 times, depending on your HP state. The damage increases as the enemy's HP stats decrease. So it's an execution style skill. What it's changed to now is attacks all enemies. If you're a fire monster, it always crits you. It has a 20% chance of defense break, and the damage is execution based still. So it does more damage as enemy HP state decreases. So you defense break into a multi-hit that continues to deal more damage. That can also be run on additional damage because it's 5 hits.
Right. What do you think? DB12 Extraordinaire? Probably not, because Tricaro is just too OP.
I don't think you ever really need to change out Tricaro. Tricaro is very easy to build at a low end and also very easy to build at a high end. I think the cool thing for Water Vampire, though, is you can see it in... First of all, it'll be harder to fight in TOA and TOA hard.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's right, yeah.
I think this unit actually might be used for solo raids. I think a lot of people will use this for solo raids because of the multi-hit chances. It might not be good enough after skill ups, like in terms of consistency when we have units like Shina and Lauren, but we might see it on third teams for people. And we might see it as well in people's siege offenses. There's potential for it. I don't think it's going to be like a meta-changing unit at G3 or anything like that, but I do think this unit has potential to be more of a fun pickup.
Yeah. Speaking of fun, just to kind of throw it out there, I was looking at the one down below here, the Death Blow, having that damage increase on that ability, and I think that's the one that had the, like it does, isn't that the one that does additional damage based on the amount of harmful effects, similar to like Brandy and somebody?
Are you talking about the Wind Vampire?
Yeah, Wind Vampire, right?
Yeah, so Wind Vampire does debuff scaling damage.
Right. So that isn't that one that could be kind of fun to mess around with, possibly for solo raids right now, to get a little bit more damage there, since we got tons of harmful effects.
So if you're somebody who's already built a Wind Vampire, I think it's really good. I think if you already built a Naomi, then you keep your Naomi instead. Sure. But if you haven't built either of them, I think that Wind Vampire is totally fine. It really just comes down to, do you have the skill ups for this unit, right? If you don't have the skill ups, it's hard to build it. If you have the skill ups, it's going to be pretty strong overall. The debuffs in general are pretty good. But
okay, and let me... Oh, go ahead.
Honorable mention for that, though. Light Vampire gets a pretty cool change to the passive. So removes all harmful effects granted on yourself at the moment of death. So every single time your Light Vampire gets the passive proc, it'll cleanse, which I think is awesome. I think that's super awesome. Island Grown, looking forward to some I know, right? Light Vampire content here.
Congratulations, Comtus. You're able to bring back Island Grown to Summoners War. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Let me ask you this. Obviously, I got the... Dark Dragon, so that's kind of one that I'm a little bit excited about. I mean, I have, I don't really run into a lot of compositions that utilize units outside of Triana for the resist death, but now I got some other options to, take on now with it offensively, definitely. Is there any unit that you personally have here that you're just like, oh my god, I'm just so excited to try it and mess around with it?
Any unit that I'm particularly... I mean, I don't summon new units, but if I did, it would be the Water Mage. For units I actually own, it's probably just Sekhmet. It's probably just Sekhmet. I'm actually missing a lot of these units. So I'm missing Helena. I don't have the mages. I'm missing... I'm missing pretty much all the light dark units here, as always.
Good game. Good
but yeah, I think the one I'm looking forward to for me personally is gotta be Sekhmet. I think maybe Chloe gets an honorable mention.
Sure.
But definitely Sekhmet and Miang. I'm a big Miang user in special leagues, so seeing Miang potentially in guild content could be cool.
Yeah. By the way, for the people that were watching before, the video started, both Onceinluv'S and I were kind of joking a little bit because we saw the fire uppercutters for like, really? Really? Like, did they really need it? I was like, oh, it's because they saw the SWC contenders utilize it for fun. They're like, oh yeah, let's give it a little value, man. Let's make it meta now for SWC. It's gonna be great. Good time.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. I think overall it's not game breaking. There's some pretty big nerfs to RTA related stuff and siege related stuff, but I think that what's being nerfed will honestly balance the game to a pretty fair level.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it overall. I think this is definitely one of the better ones we've seen in quite some time. Would you agree?
I would 100% agree. I 100%
Good.
agree. So I guess I want to kind of go over this. The last thing I want to bring up in this video, and I think it's really cool, is that when you look at the way they're balancing the game right now from this patch, they're balancing the game in the way that they're not changing that many units first turn, but they're changing their lasting effect turns, right? So they're doing things like they're adding cooldowns. Obviously, there are a couple situations where they're lowering their first turn capability or their entire kit. Like the Onimushas are getting damage nerfs, right?
Mhm.
They're pretty ridiculous. So it's okay to me to see that. They're reducing the attack bar reduction a little bit from the Fire Bison, but for the most part, like most of these are reducing cooldowns or increasing cooldowns when it comes to like nerfs. And I think that that's okay, or they're just like increasing a raw amount of damage dealt, because a lot of the time they make changes where it's like this skill no longer does blank and that will break a unit and it's like unusable at this point, right?
Right.
But seeing them make changes where it's like, okay, we want units to have more diversity and we want them to be tuned according to the meta. So let's either give them a cooldown where it's necessary or reduce their healing, or we reduce their like damage dealt. And I have to say, I'm really happy with the way that turned out.
Yeah, I think you said it sharply here, that with that key word there, diversity, creating a diverse fashion so we can go ahead and utilize a lot more units. I'm getting tired of seeing the same units over and over, and I feel like every season that generally happens, because there's just lack of changes and whatnot to implement. But yeah, as you've been saying, over the course of the last few balance patches, it looks like they're really paying close attention. I use quotations, paying close attention to user feedback. I think they did a really good job on this one. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close out the video for you guys. Once again, this is just a small breakdown of Onceinluv'S Tox picks as far as the ones to watch. Some of the units are going to be super unique, super key in this upcoming balance packs here. Again, if you guys want to get the full story, everything broken down from top to bottom, left to right, you got to go and check out his channel and his YouTube channel. Okay, I'll put the links in the description down below. If you guys can go ahead and do me a favor, go ahead and click on it, subscribe to him. I would greatly appreciate it. Once again, Onceinluv'S, thank you so much for being here on the channel.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Just one last note. Next week, I won't be streaming as much just because I'll be in New York with a bunch of other content creators. So if you guys want to, see what's going on with that, we'll have a vlog at the end of the trip. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful time. And I really hope this balance patch treats you as well as it treats us.
Take care, guys. God bless. And we will see you all in the next one. We're out.